So there's a YouTube video that's been getting a lot of attention, and it's called Trump Gets the Big Win Democrats Swore Could Never Happen. Today we're going to break down what's actually being argued in that video. We'll look at the huge economic claims, the political framing, everything really, just to understand the story that it's telling.
All right, so let's jump right in. What's the big deal here? Well, the entire video really hinges on one single, absolutely massive number that it presents as a total game changer. Let's take a look. The foundation of this whole story, right? It's built on two key financial claims. And these aren't just presented as, good news. The video frames them as this massive win that supposedly the opposition said was impossible.
Okay, so the first number they throw out is, wow, $18 trillion. To put that into perspective for you, the entire US GDP is somewhere around 28 trillion. So the claim here is absolutely monumental. They're saying foreign countries have promised to pour an amount equal to more than half the entire US economy into American jobs and factories. Now, to make that giant number feel real, the video points to this, $550 billion specifically from Japan. This is positioned as like the first piece of the puzzle, the first domino to fall. It's the proof, they say, that this whole $8 trillion thing isn't just talk. It's actually starting to happen. Okay, so we've got these huge numbers, but what does that actually mean for people? How does the video connect this money to, American prosperity? Let's get into the economic argument they're making.
Right, so according to the video, this isn't some abstract thing happening on Wall Street. They're promising real, tangible results. We're talking good-paying jobs, cash for oil and gas projects, even reopening a mine in Georgia. The whole point, they argue, is to make everyday life more affordable and to see wages finally get ahead of inflation.
And this quote really sums up the whole pitch, doesn't it? The idea is, if you create this super business-friendly America, think deregulation, secure borders, then the rest of the world will want to invest. And as the quote says, when they invest, the American worker will eat. It's presented as this simple, effective cycle of prosperity.
And this is where things take a really interesting turn. The video pivots from economics directly to immigration. It argues that you can't have one without the other, that a prosperous economy and a controlled border are fundamentally linked. And to really drive this point home, the video doesn't stick to policy debates. It brings up some really disturbing, specific examples of violent crimes. By blaming these acts on undocumented immigrants, it shifts the whole conversation from an economic one to one about personal safety, right here, right now. So after laying out these really emotional stories, the video asks a very pointed question. And it's not just a throwaway line. It's designed to set up their next big point, explaining the why behind their opponent's stance on immigration.
So what's the answer they give? Well, they argue it's not about compassion. They say it's all about politics. It's a cold, calculated strategy, they claim, all designed to gain and keep political power.
And here's the theory, spelled out in their own words. The claim is that terms like demographic destiny are basically code. It's about getting more people counted in the census, which in turn means drawing more congressional seats for certain states and districts.
So you can see how all these pieces are coming together, right? The economic argument, the immigration argument, it all builds to this one central point, drawing a sharp, clear line between two totally opposing visions for the country. And this table really lays it all out. It's designed to show a stark contrast. On one side, you have what they frame as the practical stuff, foreign investment, manufacturing jobs, making life affordable. And on the other side, they portray it as being all about symbolic, cultural issues. It's a tale of two completely different sets of priorities. So why the huge difference? Why, according to the video, are the two sides focused on such completely different things? Well, they offer up an explanation for that too. According to the video, this isn't about a good faith disagreement on policy. No, they chalk it all up to something they call Trump Derangement Syndrome. That's the term they use to describe what they see as a completely irrational emotional reaction to the person, not the policies themselves. And this quote gets to the heart of that argument. The idea is, why bother with policy proposals when you can just point to your opponent and say, he's the bad guy? The video is claiming that this kind of personal animosity becomes the entire platform, distracting from any real debate. So let's just pull this all together. The narrative the video builds is pretty clear. It connects this huge economic win directly to having a super strict immigration policy. And at the same time, it frames anyone who opposes this vision as being driven by emotion and symbolism, not by practical, real-world concerns.
And that really gets to a major theme in politics today, doesn't it? It leaves us with this final thought. Think about how often we see this framing: concrete economic wins on one side versus cultural or symbolic issues on the other. How does that setup shape the stories we're told and, ultimately, how we see the world? Understanding how these narratives are built is pretty crucial to navigating them.